Professor, the prospect theory is being widely used. Please explain the prospect theory.
Yes, in today's class, I will explain the prospect theory. The prospect theory is a theory proposed by Kahneman and Tversky. Kahneman was a psychologist and economist who won the Nobel Prize in Economics in 2002. Tversky was an Israeli cognitive and mathematical psychologist and a key figure in the discovery of systematic human cognitive bias and handling of risk. To define the prospect theory in one word, it is a theory in which consumers make decisions based on an individual's subjective values in uncertain situations. Make decisions based on an individual's subjective value in uncertain situations? It may sound a bit difficult, so let me explain it simply. Usually, when people purchase products, they do not evaluate them based on the absolute value but based on their expectations or past experiences, and recognize whether they are gains or losses. Here, their expectations or past experiences serve as a reference point. In other words, prospect theory is a theory that evaluates based on one's own subjective reference point, calculates whether it is a loss or gain, and the lower the reference point, the greater the perceived loss or gain, and tries to avoid losses if possible. Kahneman and Tversky's prospect theory consists of three theories: reference dependence, diminishing sensitivity, and loss aversion. Then, I will explain the reference dependence in detail. Reference dependence means that consumers make decisions based on their reference points. The reference point is individual expectations or past experiences, so it varies from person to person and situation to situation. Let's take an example. Office workers, A and B, worked hard for a year, so A expected a year-end bonus of $15,000, and B expected $5,000, but, in reality, A and B received the same year-end bonus of $10,000. Who do you think would be happier? A recognizes it as a loss of $5,000 because the reference point was $15,000. And B recognizes it as a gain of $5,000 because the reference point was $5,000, so B is much happier. Let's take another example. Suppose we have person A earning $40,000 a year and person B earning $35,000 a year. Who do you think would be happier? Naturally, person A would be happier. However, if we consider that A's salary has decreased by $5,000 from $45,000, and B's salary has increased by $5,000 from $30,000, who do you think would be happier? Since A's reference point is $45,000 and B's reference point is $30,000, judging based on reference points, B would be much happier. Let's explain reference dependence using a graph. The graph we are looking at is called a value function. The value function shows an S shape left and right centered on the origin. The origin is the consumer's reference point, and every consumer's reference point is different. The right side of the reference point is the gain domain, and the left side is the loss domain. If you receive more than the reference point, you gain, and if you receive less, you lose. Therefore, B, whose salary has increased, is happier than A, whose salary has decreased. Reference dependence is widely utilized in marketing. For example, when conducting a discount sale, if we always display the original price before the discount and the price after the discount together, consumers will perceive the discount effect more strongly. This is because consumers judge based on the reference price, and if the reference price or the original price is displayed, they perceive it as lower than the reference price. Therefore, most stores prominently display the reference price and the discount amount during discount sales.
Professor, I also think that I tend to think in terms of reference points when making purchases. Then, Professor, what are diminishing sensitivity and loss aversion?
Yes, I will explain diminishing sensitivity. Diminishing sensitivity is the theory that consumers feel differently depending on their reference point, even if the price changes the same. For example, comparing a price increase from $20 to $25 and a price increase from $40 to $45. Even though both cases involve $5 increase, consumers perceive the increase from $20 to $25 as a much larger increase. This is because people are more sensitive to changes when their reference point is lower. Let's analyze it using a graph. Comparing the case of a $5 increase when the reference point is $20 and the case of a $5 increase when the reference point is $40, consumers perceive a higher value when the reference point is lower. Let me explain sensitivity to perceived gains using a withholding tax example. Suppose a company pays a bonus of $1,000 to its employees on June 1st and a monthly salary of $3,000 on June 21st. Withholding taxes are deducted when paying the bonus and the salary. There are two methods for withholding taxes: separately withholding taxes for the bonus and the salary, or withholding them together on the salary payment date. The method of separately withholding tax is as follows. When the bonus is paid on June 1st, the bonus payment is $840 after deducting $160 in taxes. And when a monthly salary is paid on June 21st, the monthly salary payment is $2,520 after deducting $480 in taxes. The method of withholding tax at once on the payday is as follows. When the bonus is paid, $1,000 is paid in full. And when a monthly salary is paid, the monthly salary payment is $2,360 after deducting a total tax of $640, which is the sum of the bonus tax of $160 and the salary tax of $480. Which method do employees prefer? Most employees feel that they pay more taxes when taxes are withheld together and think, why are the taxes so high? In marketing theory, it is emphasized to bundle together when there are both significant gains and small losses. When giving a bonus, it is more effective to withhold tax. The second example of diminishing sensitivity is offering discounts to employees when they purchase the company's products. Do employees prefer receiving a discount on every purchase of the company's products? Or do they prefer accumulating points equal to the discount amount at the end of the year? Most consumers take it for granted that they pay for their products when they purchase them. And if they receive points separately later, they will consider them as an additional significant benefit. In marketing theory, it is emphasized to separate when there are both small gains and significant losses. Lastly, let me explain loss aversion. Loss aversion is a theory in which consumers feel the impact of losses more strongly than gains. For example, when comparing a $5,000 gain to a $5,000 loss, even though the amounts are the same, individuals feel the loss more painful. In the graph, when experiencing a $5,000 loss, the value decrease is larger, compared to the value increase when experiencing a $5,000 gain. Therefore, consumers tend to avoid losses whenever possible. There are many cases where loss aversion is utilized in marketing. When offering price discounts, dividing the discount into smaller increments multiple times, and when charging the cost, aggregating costs and charging at once, can elicit a more positive response from consumers. In marketing theory, this aligns with the concept of splitting gains and combining losses, where gains should be divided into several increments and losses should be charged all at once. I will explain the prospect theory explained so far again, focusing on the value function. The value function shows an S shape left and right centered on the origin. And the S shape is a combination of two different graphs. The graph of the first quadrant has a gentle slope, and the graph of the third quadrant has a steeper slope. The origin is reference point. Drawing left and right around the origin means that the right side of the reference point is the gain domain and the left side is the loss domain. In other words, consumers judge value based on their own subjective reference point. This is called a reference dependence. And the S shape means that the closer the graph is to the reference point, the steeper it is, and the farther away it is, the gentler it is. That is, the sensitivity gradually decreases as the distance from the reference point increases. This is called diminishing sensitivity. And the fact that the graph of the first quadrant, the gain domain, has a gentle slope, and the graph of the third quadrant, the loss domain, has a steeper slope, means that consumers feel the impact of losses more strongly than gains, even though the amounts are the same. This is called loss aversion.
Prospect theory, which is a highly complex theory, has been explained in a simplified manner. Thank you, Professor.